Okay guys, in the previous lection I just showed you how to deploy your Zend Framework 2 application to AppFog. I showed to you how to use htaccess to reroute the requests to public index PHP and how to install Zend Framework application in vendor folder without pushing it to the GitHub, without adding it to the GitHub. Now we'll continue with MySQL server, installing MySQL server and managing the MySQL server. Again, the things, I still have them open. The ingredients, this is the mind map, GitHub, where my project is. This is Codenvy, our IDE. This is PHP Cloud, which I supposed to use as a development server, but instead of development server it turned out to be only a Kickstart server, which I'm using just to create the Zend Framework 2 application easily, download it in Codenvy, and AppFog, which should play the role of my deployment server, and mostly I'm using it as a development server because for me it's easier right now to do project, pass, AppFog, and just update instead of git add, git commit, and git push, and just cluttering the GitHub with unwanted commits. So let's continue further now. By the way, in the previous lection I just didn't push to GitHub, so let me do that. GitHub push. Let me make sure the htaccess is here and it's changed. This probably is still the old htaccess. No, it's already the new one. Okay, so the push actually took place very quickly. Okay, so that's it now. I show it to you that the applications are identical right now running on my development server and on my deployment server. Okay, so let's compare them. This is my development. This is my deployment. Okay, and there, as you can see, are identical. Only the URLs are different. Okay. But there is one big difference. When I try to access album, the famous tutorial application in the AppFog, I get error because I don't have connection to MySQL server. By the way, I would like to add something to my index.php file just to see the errors, all errors. Okay, let me do that before we continue because otherwise I'm blind. I'm literally blind. I don't see anything. When error happens, actually, this is one way to do it. By the way, in the configuration file of Zend you can do it, but init, let me look at the command. So the command, it's in the same branch, init display errors equals 1. So let's do that. Actually, you can find it in the PHP net. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste this. So this is the same like setting this display error parameter in PHP ini file. It plays the same role. So okay, I just don't want to be blind. Let's see what that does. Actually, when the next time I commit, I will see this taking place. Project pass AppFog. Album. Yeah. Actually, this is a catchable error, and that's why Zend is catching this error, and it's showing me everything in more not disturbing way. In a not disturbing way. Okay, so this is only one little thing I wanted to show you. Now let's continue with the MySQL server. First thing is we have to start in AppFog for the given platform server. So my application is called FMI Stojan Cherešarov on AppFog. Let me open the application so I can see the properties. And here we go. Here from services we have the chance to start MongoDB, which I love very much, and MySQL, which I also love. So this is relational database, this is NoSQL. NoSQL means not only SQL, so it's perfect augmentation of relational database management systems. Is not conflicting MySQL or relational database management systems in any case. Let's start this service. See, another thing which is very important. For more information how to connect to your app to services, check out our docs. When you bind services to your application, it modifies an environment variable called vcap services. I'm going to show you how we're going to use that. First, let's start the service. And as I said, on the entire platform, the MySQL will be available. Okay, I'm starting MySQL. Hopefully, I hope I'm starting something. Name. I'm gonna call this let me put my name, Stojan MySQL. Actually, let me look at the infrastructure first, and after that call it by the name of the infrastructure, because as I said, this MySQL server, it's EU West infrastructure. This MySQL server will be available and visible to bind for all applications running this infrastructure, so I'm gonna call it EU West. Actually EU West Amazon Web Services MySQL EU. It's gonna show me that actually it's running for this infrastructure. Okay, so create provisioning service soon will be created, and my application will be bind automatically because it has been started from this application. Okay, syncing. Okay, let's look at again our beautiful application in our development server to see how it looks. Let me refresh here because usually I get kicked. Let's make sure that album works again. Here, happily works. Yeah, it works. Edit, blah 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 blah. Great. See, now what happens is we have a new instance of MySQL server running on our infrastructure, which is the Western Europe. Okay, if you read the documentation, you'll figure out something. You'll figure out how to use this environment variable to create your connection to the server. Now, how we are going to connect from our application to the server? This is the first thing. Okay, this is the code. It comes, as I said, from reading the documentation. If you remember, in config autoload we have a local PHP file, and this local PHP file should has the sensitive information. So I'm gonna stop the recording, open the local PHP file. I don't want to show my username and password, and after that I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with this file. This local PHP file is not the same like the local PHP file on your development server. In order to create such a local PHP file on AppFog in application cloud, actually in PHP cloud I have using WinSCP or SFTP client, other SFTP client to connect and create it. This local PHP file is included in gitignore and never gets pushed to the repository. So the secret stays secret. Okay, let me pause, and after that I will resume showing you what I'm doing. Okay, I decided to show you my local PHP file, which I'm using actually for my development server for PHP Cloud. See, in the PHP Cloud, the way you create your local PHP file is by creating the data source name, DB name Wingman. It goes, the DB name is the same like the name of the container. Those are the rules in PHP Cloud. In AppFog the rules are different. This is the URL of the MySQL server instance, my username, which is the same like the username for the container, and my password. Of course, this is not my password. Okay, this is not my real password. So just as a comparison, I'm gonna comment this, and here we go. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna change it so our application will be able to connect to our MySQL instance on AppFog. I don't need this. This easily can be removed, but I just comment it because we're doing this for educational purposes, but not only for the educational purposes, but even for myself I would keep it just to remember how to connect to PHP Cloud and not look somewhere else. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Remember, they're mentioning VCAP services. This is actually how we are using it in the real life. It's in JSON format, that's why we're decoding after getting it from the environment. VCAP services. Service JSON, MySQL 5.1.0 credentials. This is the configuration, and after that we say the name, the username, and the password. All these things we get from this VCAP services environment variable. Okay, that's great. So now our application is ready to connect to our instance of MySQL server. At least it's not gonna complain that cannot connect to MySQL server. It's gonna complain for something else, of course, because there is no such table. The second part will be to show you how to access our instance and create tables, export and manage our instance. So far so good. We have one MySQL server running on AppFog, but we cannot do anything apart of the fact that we can connect to this instance from our application, but we cannot manage it. In any case, that's done. So let's upload this to AppFog. Pass AppFog update, and let's see what happens. We'll run the application again on AppFog to see their messages and everything, and after that I'm gonna show you what else I'm gonna do. Okay, so local PHP, this is the first thing to do in this branch. Services, MySQL, local branch. Install phpMyAdmin. As I said, there are two ways to connect to our instance and actually create tables, export, import, do whatever we like. One of them is using VPN or tunneling with tunneling, virtual private network with tunneling. We have to install native applications on this computer, which I don't want to do. Connect and use MySQL client, SQL client, for example, PHP Maestro or MySQL Bench or something else, whatever you like to use as a tool to create tables and manage them. Another way is to install the phpMyAdmin on the AppFog. Again, this application will be for the entire infrastructure, and this is the way I'm gonna do it. There are also two different ways. I'm not gonna cover the first one, which is the old way. I'm gonna try the second way. I learned recently from Mark, which is R&D of Codenvy, that there is another way to clone actually one application and deploy to AppFog without creating an application in Codenvy. Okay, so this is finished. Let's try to open the application, our famous application album. This is gonna be our test. Again, system could not be statement could not be executed. See, the error message now is changed. Now we have server, we have connected to it, but there is no table. So let's see how we are going to create a table. So now we're going to use again our IDE, Codenvy, and we are going to create now another application and deploy it to the Western Europe infrastructure. This is going to be our phpMyAdmin, which is a software as a service. Of course, we don't have to pay for it. It's application, web-based application for managing our MySQL servers. So what we're gonna do is now get actually what I have to do is close this project, and now let's go this way. First, with PHP project open, but first we have to clone, of course. Codenvy, so git clone repository. Pay attention to that. Right now we can find phpMyAdmin somewhere in the public space and download it, not somewhere, of course, in GitHub. We can find it, download it here, but AppFog recommends to download a specific version of phpMyAdmin. I don't know how much did they change it. Well, I will check that. But create app, add remote. Okay, so here we go. Come on. This is what they recommend. Yeah, of course, I cannot open that. It's a Git protocol. I just can copy. I have the same thing, I guess, here. Yes, I do. Okay, so now remote URL AppFog phpMyAdmin, remote name origin. Okay, project name AppFog, clone, and let's follow the instructions and see how it works. So I didn't create application, I didn't create a project, and after that I didn't add I didn't do init, and after that git pull. I just clone it. Now let's see if that works. With the PHP project open, go to project properties. Edit the target property to AppFog. Okay, let's follow these instructions. Once that when this is done, so we have a brand new project. with the PHP project open, go to project properties and change the target. Right now it's OpenShift. I just don't want to make mistakes, that's why I'm gonna come here and copy AppFog. Say OK. OK. Now the recommendation is to close the project and reopen. Okay, so let's follow these instructions. Close the project, reopen, and we'll see if I'm able to create a new application. If not, then I will use the old-fashioned way. First I will create a project, and I will add remote, and I will pull the files. Okay, project. See, we'll see now. AppFog, create application. Yeah, perfect. Amazon Web Services, I want to be on the same infrastructure, Europe West. Application name, that's just wonderful. URL application name is okay, how we are gonna call this? Probably EU Amazon Web Services, EU Amazon Web Services, phpMyAdmin. Stoyan, let's make it unique. phpMyAdmin. Okay. How to detect the type? Let's see. Java. It's a PHP application, or I can leave it auto detect. Memory megabytes, instance only one. Start after creation. Great. Create. Right now this application is going to be created on the infrastructure, on the West European infrastructure, and soon we will see how we will connect this application, this instance of phpMyAdmin, to our instance of MySQL server, and we will be managing our server through this instance. Okay, so far so good. Deploy application, we are here right now. Configuration of the phpMyAdmin is again a little bit strange. Actually, I like it. All you have to do is set a password into AppFog. You don't have to play with configuration files of the application. Pass AppFog. Let's see it. Of course, yeah, it doesn't know how to connect to our instance. Now, what we have to do is go here to AppFog again and set environmental variables. Again, similar way we did for our application. See what it says. You can set the value to whatever you want as your password. Your default phpMyAdmin username is the email address your AppFog account is under, but you can optionally override this with another variable. I'm not going to use another one, I'm going to use only this one. I'm going to set this variable, and I'm going to call it my password. Update. So two very simple steps. done. Okay, let's try now. Of course, we didn't bound our instance of the application, and this is a wrong application. Remove it, update. Let's find first the application and set the variable in the proper application. Don't do that, that was wrong. So find your application, your phpMyAdmin application. And set the environmental variable. I'll add here in your application. Okay, so I was in a wrong application before. Now I'm in the right place. So phpMyPassword. Gonna call it my password. Update. And of course, I didn't bind my application, so first I have to add this as well. Bind your phpMyAdmin app to the MySQL service. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna bind my phpMyAdmin application. Here it is. To my instance of MySQL server. Remember, we have another applications bind to this instance. This is our initial applications called FMI. Binding the service and restarting, starting done, and I'm waiting here for the button unbind. Here it is. Okay, so we have two applications bind to the same service, EU AWS MySQL. Okay, from one of the applications, from this one, phpMyAdmin, we actually are gonna manage our MySQL server, and another one is our actual application. Okay, we already set this, so let's see what happens now. Maybe I have to remove and set it again, so I'm gonna do that. phpMyPassword, my password, update. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, one or more MySQL services must be bound. It is bound already. MySQL 5.1. Okay, so let's log into our application. Refresh. Okay, this is the username for my AppFog account. The email actually. which I'm using anyway to log in, and the password we know already. I have set the password to my password. And here we go. Now we have a full control of our MySQL instance running on AppFog. Okay, mission control. So it wasn't difficult actually. Now let's go back to our application. Now our poor application is missing the one table. It has the connection to MySQL server. I have two connections actually from two applications. I'm bind to the same instance of the MySQL server, and also I have connections to them. One is my application FMI, and another one is phpMyAdmin. Okay, so now let's take the code. I can do it both ways. For example, I can go to my development server, or I can go to internet and take it from there, from the tutorial application. Just as a comparison, here it is, the database management system for our development server. Database management. It is the same, again, phpMyAdmin, but it looks a little bit different. Album. Here it is. Structure. SQL. I can export, of course. I don't want to do that, so as a comparison I'm showing you the MySQL server in the PHP cloud, which is my deployment server, and I'm showing as well the phpMyAdmin, which I'm using to manage my MySQL server on the development server. Okay, now let's go to framework Zend. This is where we know the code for our table exists. Skeleton application, modules, routing and controllers, database and models. Here it is, the URL. And I'm just gonna copy and paste the code. Status SQL. I'll say go. Let me refresh SQL again. Clear, not clear. Delimiter. MySQL set. No database selected. Databases. Okay, so let's select the database. And let's say go. Refresh. And here we go. We have album. Now let's see our skeleton application. Wow, our application now works on Amazon Web Services. Let's check. Album test AppFog. Actually, our application runs on AppFog. Test AppFog. Created on AppFog. Add. Born to Die. I don't see it. Add new album. My dreams. Okay. Here we go. The cache was kicking in, that's why. test AppFog. This is the new record we just have created on AppFog. As a comparison, as I said, this is how our application looks on our development server or PHP Cloud. Not or, our development server is a PHP Cloud. So here it is. We independently can add this a little bit slow. This is Zend PHP Cloud created cloud, and I'm gonna call this Zend PHP Cloud created add. It's significantly slow here if you compare. Here it is. This is on PHP Cloud, and this is the same application on AppFog or Amazon Web Services album, the very same application running. So I think that's it for now, folks. We know how to manage our instance of the web server on the MySQL server. Here it is. We know how to connect. Let me show you again. Of course, I have to go to our project. Connecting from phpMyAdmin is done through a setting of variable, environment variable, and we know how to connect from our project. Okay, I'm not gonna wait for this to load. It's in config auto, probably. The project is getting bigger and bigger as we add more and more features. Okay, so I'm planning to continue with a very primitive, simple content management system and go from there. Okay, thank you for your attention and see you next time.